What's up, everybody? It's me, Johnny, and with me I've got DJ D and Piccinini, or as some would know her, Katie Kaboom.
Goodness.
Howdy.
This would be great if we had the sound effect to be like, I've got with me DJ D, and as some would know, Katie Kaboom, and it's like,
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah,
welcome, where we talk about all the hot topics.
You're now in the blast zone.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's
it's
really
just selling
good.
itself. Oh my gosh.
That's really good. Like, what's up? Welcome to the blast zone, everybody. It's me, your oh man.
Oh man.
Write that down. Hold on. I'm literally going to write that down. Let me pull a note.
So
Kaboom,
you have a week to actually
zone.
formalize that before it gets
decide if I'm actually going to rebrand from Piccinini to Katie Kaboom. Yeah, I mean, it's sounding better every moment.
I like it. I do like it. It's why I'm not like you should keep Piccinini. I do like Katie Kaboom. I think it's nice.
Yeah. Should I just send it right now?
Let's not forget Craig in the back. What's up, Craig? I want to make Craig merch.
Oh,
I feel like
that's
Craig
a genius
is
idea.
The actual mascot of this podcast. And where would we be without him? You know?
Okay, I have a plan for that. I have an idea. So, we've been talking about making it a Navcast t-shirt to put on the website. So you could have like a Navcast on the front, whatever you want to symbol of that. And then on the back of the shirt, you could put, and in the back of the room, Craig.
Yeah. Over there in the back is Craig.
Yeah,
and
on the back of the shirt.
He could have like a shadowed face.
Yeah.
So you can't see what he looks like. Yeah. Also, I think we talked about, is it Craig or is it Craig?
That's a good question. I actually don't know.
I like Craig. I'm just deciding for him. But
well, Craig, why don't you let us know? Craig, which one is it?
That is 100% Craig.
Also, I just learned that Craig can actually be used without Discord too, which is really cool.
Well, let's not talk about using our intern, our unpaid intern. Okay.
Yeah.
What you mean is that Craig is
doesn't
available
just
to
on
work.
Discord. Yeah.
He's available. He's not. We don't use Craig. Craig has a very wonderful unpaid internship package. He's got unpaid vacation days and unpaid work days. It's just perfect. It's perfect.
Future NAV interns, you should be aware that we treat our interns very well here.
Yeah, that's true. Our last episode. You know, it's funny though, because Caitlin our last episode was AI is okay, and David and I actually had a pretty long discussion about the use of AI. And Caitlin, you love AI, right? We've talked about this.
I wouldn't say that I love it, but I am.
Are you an
neutral
advocate
about
for AI?
it? Yeah.
Are you an AI advocate?
Sure.
In no small part to the wonderful Green Skull, who
what a man,
does a great job, featuring AI in his videos and such. But last week I called my dad and I suggested to him to download ChatGPT to help him with writing posts and stuff like that. And the thing that sold him on it was I was like, it's like having a relatively smart intern that's on call 24 hours a day. And that's when he was like, okay.
Gets things wrong.
Well, I told him that don't ask it questions. Just ask it to do things.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Don't ask it what it don't ask that. And I'm like, and it doesn't have feelings. I did specifically say that. I was like, it doesn't have feelings. So if you keep telling it, I don't like that, change it. It doesn't get mad or frustrated like I do.
I asked an AI something just the other day, and it said it gave me a wrong answer immediately. And I was like, okay, well, I should know better than to ask questions.
Oh my gosh. I did my dinosaur stream. Did we talk about how much money we raised last week? I don't think we did. For Movember?
I'm not sure. I feel like we definitely talked about doing Movember, but I don't know that we released an actual number.
We raised $569 for the Movember Foundation. Nice. And which is the most we've ever raised. I want to point that out for Movember. Anyway. And I did my dinosaur stream yesterday, and so now that I'm not wearing the dinosaur costume, I find that it was quite funny and fun. But while I was wearing it, I could not see anything. it really sucked. So like, because it's not even just that there's like a plastic in front of my face that's foggy, but there was also like this netting on it. I don't know why.
Kind of hide your face is like so that you can.
I guess. And so like to be able to read my screen, to read the chat, I would like close one of my eyes and like have to like position my face in this weird way to like barely be. It was pretty awful. But then I raided Rika, and she like pulled up my stream right away. And what I did not notice is that while I was working like this, the dinosaur's face was like pressed up against the wall. And that's the visual bit. And that was actually pretty funny to watch. And at one point I even make a comment. I'm like, I'm really leaning forward now. I don't know that you guys can tell. And like the dinosaur's face is like mashed up against the wall.
That's wonderful.
And it's like, turns out they could tell. Turns out.
Yeah.
It was fun. Maybe we'll do it again. And coming up sometime soon, David's going to beat the Gollum game in a single stream.
Yeah, I guess.
In a single stream?
Try.
That was what was promised? Yeah. That is
That's
really long game.
It's 20 hours.
So it's 20 hours of content too. That's not to say if you get distracted with like a side quest or if you die or if, you know.
I don't think he's going to get distracted by a side quest.
Is that even an option in that game? I actually have zero idea anything about Gollum.
I have no idea either, but like from what I was reading about, because all I looked up was completion time, and they said completionist is 20 hours, give or take, but that main quest is like 14. So
that's still pretty long.
But also 14 for like someone streamlining through is probably closer to 20 for me. So yeah.
But do you think that they're going to
stream.
keep? Do you know that the Gollum game is $50?
That's ridiculous.
Isn't that insane? It's $50. Like
that's $50 you could have put towards the charity, David. I'm just kidding.
Well, that and what's funny is like, is this game? I'm looking at it on Steam right now. Is this game relevant to you? It's similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake and God of War.
Oh my gosh! Really? That's what it says.
that's what it's saying. And this is the about. The Lord of the Rings Gollum is an official adaptation based on the literary works of J.R.R. Tolkien. How sad is that? He's got nothing more to lose. How far will he go to retrieve his precious? It's like a combination of Let It Go and Moana. I don't like. I don't know.
So its Metascore on Metacritic is 33 from critic reviews, and it's 1.4 from user score.
That's bad. I don't think a single WoW player will ever play that game.
Yeah, exactly. What I would love though is that they would keep updating the game. You know, they like pull a Larian and like multiple years after the games come out, they keep like doing free updates to the game and just changing it. Wouldn't that be like a beautiful success story of like Gollum like 5 years from now wins Game of the Year because apparently DLCs count as a brand new game to be nominated as Game of the Year?
I mean, it would probably win Game of the Year for exactly. Yeah,
it's so annoying. I realized since I got my Steam Deck this year, I have not played a game that's come out this year, which is kind of crazy to me.
Well, no, you played Helldivers.
Oh, there we go. That's one. I forgot that came out this year, but everyone forgot about Helldivers.
It feels that way. Yeah, it really is.
It came and went very fast.
Yeah.
It came and went. Well, also, I played on my Steam Deck, and the last time I loaded into the game, it would crash within like 30 seconds of loading.
Oh, no.
Like, every time. Like, what I was doing. I don't know. I may have uninstalled the game. Do you guys own the game Hunt? Caitlin, do you own that?
I don't. You know, I considered it for a while because Tuna was playing it so heavily. But I don't think it's ever appealed to me enough to make the plunge.
Armor gifted it to me.
Oh. Gifted it to me too.
I guess I'm gonna.
I guess you guys are playing the Hunt.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I do want to play it, but I also have no idea what the game is about. Like literally none. I've watched Tuna play it. I've watched Farmer play it. It's like, are you fighting players? Are you fighting NPCs? What's happening? And they're just like, yes.
I've not only watched them play it, I've asked them multiple times to explain it, and that's also the answer I get. They're just like, yes. And I'm like,
we're hunting.
What is this?
So
I want to
actually
get
had
Sea of Thieves on Steam.
I had my first hunt game actually earlier today, and I did not understand it until I played it. But once I played like around, it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense. So maybe it's one of those things where you just have to,
At least you can pick it up quick.
So I won a Switch Lite from Tuna's stream. And one of the things I was excited about was I was like, oh, I can use this to play Monster Hunter Rise, and I can use it to play Fortnite with Johnny. Because right now I don't have a way to play Fortnite at home. I played my first game of Fortnite on the Switch, and it was terrible.
Oh, no.
This is awful. And it's 100%. Like, it looks like a potato. It looks so bad. Like, as soon as you start dancing, stuff gets pixelated. And one of my characters, I have Kelsier, the Mistborn skin. And when he jumps down, his cloak doesn't flap. It's like rigid when he's like falling. It's so bad. But I did buy a new emote that I thought was funny and I liked. And I did. So Fortnite took $20 from me. I loaded it up on there, and I immediately spent $20 on some emotes for me and Johnny, and I bought him the Battle Pass because he wants to play it. But I got to play with one of Johnny's friends from school. That was fun. And then I left because I was done playing, and he rejoined my party. I'm like, oh my god, stop, go away. But we don't have voice chat, so you know how it is. But also things are different now, Caitlin. There's like swords and you can like jump off walls and stuff. It's crazy.
Oh my goodness.
It hasn't even been a year since I stopped playing Fortnite. The last I played was in the spring, and it's a totally different game. I don't even know. And it's interesting how some people like that it's constantly changing. I don't know that I like it.
I like that they experiment with things, and I like that they seem to try to bring back the things that people like. I think that's cool. I think that's the only way that a live service game lasts as long as Fortnite has, is if they're constantly making it new, making it novel.
What about or Destiny? You know what you could do is you could just not write a story. And
write a paragraph of a story and then just drip feed that.
Drip feed it, and then just and another thing I wanted to reference. Oh, Caitlin's here. This is perfect. Brandon Sanderson's Wind and Truth book is out.
Yes.
Which is book 5 of the Stormlight Archive. D, have you started it yet?
No.
No
I'm
spoilers.
Actually reading the Nightmare Painter. Yumi and the Nightmare Painter right now.
Oh, God, what a good book. I love that book so much. I read the acknowledgments of Wind and Truth, and I'm waiting to read more. Caitlin, you read Tress in the Emerald Sea.
Yes.
What is the book you're reading now?
I have not. Oh, I mean, I will not tell you the book I'm actually reading right now, but
don't worry, everybody. It's the Bible.
I'm currently waiting for Onyx Storm to come out, which is the 3rd book in the Imperium series that Rebecca Yarros wrote. It's about dragon riders and stuff like that. So it's fantasy style, but it comes out right at the beginning of January. So I've not picked up another book since I finished Tress in the Emerald Sea. But I'm also finishing Ishmael. Ishmael. I don't know how to say it.
Are you aware that DJD hates Aragon with a passion?
That's criminal.
I actually haven't read the books because of how strongly David hates them.
Hey, I hate the first book. The other two are fine.
I'm kind of shooketh about this. Okay.
The first book is garbage.
D hates on that first book harder than... Honestly, I think it's the thing I've heard him hate the hardest. I've never heard him hate on something as hard as he's hated on that book Aragon.
And the movie was worse. And the video game was even worse. Oh
okay, the video game is terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. I really loved the movies. Growing up, movie one singular.
What?
I
You like that
loved
movie?
it. Yes, I loved it. I watched it on repeat. I could probably tell you every line from that movie. Okay, and then as an adult, I think last year
this
I
might
finally
be the first
read.
time that we ever boot someone from the podcast. Actually,
No, keep
So
going.
last year, the last year was the first time I actually read the book Aragon, and I was like, oh. I understand why people hate the movie because it's so different. They're not even related. They're so different, right?
They have one important similar quality. They're both garbage.
It's just it's brutal. But I still enjoyed the book though.
I wanted to watch the movie. So Aragon came out at the same time as the movie Happy Feet, like the movie about penguins dancing. And I wanted to go see Happy Feet, and I went with a friend and my sister. And the friend, he like made fun of me, and he's like, "You want to see Happy Feet? Like it's dancing, but that movie looks so stupid. Like, no, we're not going to watch that." And so what we did instead was he was like, "Oh, let's go watch Aragon." So we watched Aragon, which was just not a good movie, right? Like it was very much a Lord of the Rings ripoff movie, right? Is what it felt like. Lord of the Rings and Pirates of the Caribbean kind of came out similarly timed. Like it came out after that, but it was very much in that vein of movie, and it just didn't stick the landing very well. Not well written. So we went and saw that movie. None of us liked it. And then a few months later, he actually bought me a copy of Happy Feet because he watched it when it like came out on DVD. And he was like, "This was a great movie, and I wish we had gone and seen it in theaters instead of Aragon. I wish I would have listened to you." And he bought me that copy. And I was just like,
that reminds me of when we went to go see Her, and I would have rather seen any other movie besides that.
Is that movie? Have you seen the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix, Caitlin?
I have. It makes me uncomfortable.
So a couple things. One, I feel like I've talked about that movie more this year than I have in many years. But it's because of like AI now, right?
Yeah.
And like and stuff like that. Like the movie, it's like stirring. I watched it when I lived in America, and Chiho, who I share an office with, loves ChatGPT and loves like talking with AI. And I was like, maybe you should watch this movie, Her, because it was really interesting, and I feel like it's become more relevant recently. Like she loves ChatGPT so much that she doesn't like sci-fi, and she's starting to get interested in sci-fi because AI is a major part of sci-fi stories. Sure. Right? And
that's really cool,
like,
actually.
So, but then I tell her the story. Have we talked about it on the podcast? I went to see this movie with David, and we both had limited information about this movie. So let me set the scene. I had gotten in a car accident a few weeks earlier, and I was driving around a rental car. It was not my fault. The car accident was not my fault. So I was driving around a rental car, and I needed to pick up my car from like the repair place, right? And then we were going to drop off the rental car. So I called my trusty BFF David, and I was like, "Hey, are you working on this day?" And he's like, No. And I'm like, "Sweet. Will you ride with me to pick up my car, and then will you drive my rental car to drop it off? And like I'll follow you, and then we'll like go out and maybe catch a movie or something." And David was like, "Yeah, I'm totally game." So we do that. We go to the movie theater, and I don't know if we wanted to see the movie or if it was the only.
We were waiting for like the car. Yeah,
we had to wait like 2 hours, and like that was the movie that was available for us to watch. Right? They're like, "Oh, there's a showing of Her," and I was like, "Oh, I've heard about this movie. Let's watch it." And for those who don't know,
we both knew it was about AI, and we both like were into sci-fi. Are still, I mean, but yeah. So like,
for those who don't know, it's about a guy who dates an AI, and there is a scene, like a phone sex scene, kind of, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Warning for anyone watching the movie. This is the best part, by the way. The movie, the screen goes completely black during the scene. It's the best part. And so I have never, even still, I'm a grown man, I have never suddenly been aware that I'm in a dark room with a bunch of sweaty dudes as when that screen went black.
No.
And we're all just listening to this. David and I like turned and looked at each other because it's like, what do we do? What do we do? I'm suddenly aware there's like 30 people in this room with us. That was an experience. David was just talking about how going to the movie theater, what you're paying for is the experience, not the necessarily the like that you're watching the movie better. D, in this example, that's very true. I don't know that I would have felt the strong shame that I felt if I was just watching that at home. And also, I feel like that scene lasted like a minute.
It lasted way too long. Yeah,
which doesn't sound like a long time, but I think that's
intentional. But yeah, yeah. I still get and I'm not a prude by any means when it comes down to it. But that was
it was a little awkward.
Yeah,
it's pretty awkward. But but recently, now I don't. After I say this, it's gonna sound weird. I kind of want to rewatch that movie. I've only seen it the one time. I kind of want to rewatch it. With how AI's been part of like conversation in life more, but I have not, and I don't know that I will. I don't own it or anything.
The only movie that made me feel more awkward than that was seeing that one movie with my parents that was about the girl.
Oh yeah, what was her name? What was the movie's name?
Oh man, I don't remember.
It's like an Emma Stone movie.
Yeah. But that was super awkward.
There's this weird movie, Caitlin. Are you familiar? Caitlin, do you like movies? Are you like a movie buff?
I'm not a movie buff. I mean, I like movies.
There's some weird art house type movie that David went to go see with his parents that was very R-rated.
Poor Things.
Poor Things. Yeah, I was I was just Googling based off what you guys just said.
Yeah.
Here's the awkward part. So David explained how weirdly sexual this movie was. And watching it with his parents and how awkward that was. Literally a couple days later, one of my adult students who's in his 30s, learning English, we were talking and he's like, oh yeah, I just went to the movie theater and I saw a movie and I really liked it. And I was like, oh, what movie is it? And he was like, it's called Poor Things. And then I was like, oh, why don't you go ahead and describe the movie to me? Because I know, right, what it's about and everything. And he wasn't able to. Because he was like, I don't know how to talk about this in English. And I was like, gross.
I mean, from an artistic point of view, I could see where it's very unique, but some of the content matter is pretty disturbing. So just be aware of that.
But there's this, right? And maybe I'm in the minority here, but I'm going to use music as an example. There's a famous musician named Jacob Collier. Have you guys heard of him?
No.
Probably not. Because you know why you guys haven't heard of him? Because his music sucks. I hate his music, but he's very well loved by musicians because he makes really interesting harmonies and really you know what I mean? It's that art house kind of music. But so he does this cover of Bridge Over Troubled Water, and people are like, oh my gosh, it's so great. Look, he's used all of these different harmonies and it's so different and it's so special. Wow, it's this incredible thing. You know what? It is better, just like the original song. Because at some point, your art still needs something being interesting doesn't mean that it sounds good. It only sounds good to people who are like, oh, I've heard the same melodies my whole life,
Right.
And I'm just not a fan of that. I don't like art house type stuff. I'm very much a mass appeal kind of person. Whatever it is that has the hot, that sounds great to me.
Except for Lost.
Except for Lost. Right. Oh, that's right. I should watch Lost. I have it. You know what else? It was recently, all of it was added to Netflix Japan recently.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's your sign.
That's hilarious.
David's been trying to get me to watch Lost for an insane amount of time.
It's been a decade.
I'm not going to watch it. I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah.
I'll get to it. Oh, Caitlin, David, what is this show? What is this new Star Wars show?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I was going to talk about that because that kind of
Caitlin, do you know about it?
A little bit.
No.
There's a new Star Wars show. Skeleton Crew. Okay, I have one question before you get started. For reference, I don't know anything about this show. I have not seen a single trailer. I have not seen anything.
I didn't even know it existed.
The description for the first episode is kids from an ordinary planet discover a surprising secret. Are they from Earth?
No.
Okay. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was like this weird, I'm like, is this happening? Like there's like some kids from Earth who get transported into the Star Wars universe? Like, are we doing that?
That would be pretty wild, but no. This takes place on like a planet in the Star Wars canon.
Tatooine.
Well, not just there, but yeah.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way it's got to be Earth. That's in their galaxy far, far away, you know? Like,
so
it's really
what's going on?
good.
What's this show?
It's essentially,
like
it's like, Jude Law's great in it. He's only been in, I think he shows up at the end of like episode 2, no spoilers, but yeah.
Oh my God. What? Why do they do that?
But so far, what else did I just see with Jude Law? Oh, I saw the Sherlock movies again, which are great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, Skeleton Crew is fantastic. It's very much like a kind of like fun, a little bit campy, but also seems pretty well written. Like, it's what I want from Star Wars. It's another story told in the Star Wars universe that's not like completely dependent on Rey and the Skywalker saga.
Right, Rey Skywalker.
Yeah. It leans a little bit heavy into like pirate themed stuff and everything. But I don't think that's a detriment yet anyway. We'll see on like, it's because like, I don't know. It's always weird when something takes on like a theme from like our kind of like universe when it's set in a different universe, because I feel like it could be immersion breaking a little bit. I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think that Skeleton Crew quite reaches that point. I think it walks that line pretty well so far, but only the first 2 episodes are out as of this recording. So,
did you guys see Dune and Dune Part 2?
Yes, and I've been watching the new show. It's fantastic.
I still haven't seen the new show. I haven't
seen the new show, and I haven't seen Part 2 yet, but I do want to watch. It's just, my problem is that like, I don't know when I'm going to have like that big of a chunk of time. I might have to watch it in multiple sittings. But one of the things, so Hans Zimmer did the soundtrack for Dune, and he approached it not like John Williams with like, an orchestra. Because one of the things right away he was like, well, what kind of instruments do they have in this world? Right? Like, I want to create a soundscape for this universe, and maybe they don't have stuff like that. And like kind of like approached it that way. That's what I thought of when you were talking about like certain things taking on themes from our planet, right? And it's like, but why in a different universe?
Well, and not that pirates are new to Star Wars or like, but like this leans very heavy into like kind of like the like Pirates of the Caribbean kind of like stereotype kind of like pirate stuff, like Treasure Island kind of stuff.
They're like, yo ho, a pirate's life for me, kind of.
Kind of. I would not be shocked if they sang that, honestly. But so far, it's working pretty well. So far, it's doing great. So, we'll see.
We say that, but I think Pirates of the Caribbean 1, Curse of the Black Pearl, is pretty close to a perfect movie.
I would agree. I would say it's definitely very good.
Yeah. I'm there for it.
I wouldn't say it's my favorite movie, but it's a great movie. Like it just covers everything really well.
It definitely made having the last name a little unbearable for a while, if I'm being honest. Like even to this day.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
But who has the last name? Because we've not said your last name, and we definitely wouldn't dox you. So surely you must be talking about your friend who has the last name.
I'm just saying. For anyone with the last name out there, it's unfortunate, the coincidence.
In our episode where we talked about David when he wasn't there, you, me, and Farmer, I at one point I actually said his last name, and I edited that out.
Well, and I didn't say that was my last name. Y'all are the ones who made it weird.
It was a very clear thing because you were like, listen, having the last name pretty unbearable.
But I did enjoy the movies.
Which she doesn't, actually, guys, Craig's last name is there. I said it.
Yeah,
sorry,
that's what we're talking
Craig.
about. Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
Craig, I'm doxing you. Craig Turner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awkward. My sister-in-law's middle name is Elizabeth.
Oh,
I always want to say it like he's like, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, yeah.
But the other thing I'll say about Skeleton Crew too is that it's very much. It seems like it was developed with the idea of franchisability in mind. Like it very much seems like it was developed so that like they can like, not in a bad way, because I think the show itself is good, but like I could totally see like a part of like the Star Wars like land in like Disney World or whatever, having like in Galaxy's Edge, having like a a Skeleton Crew section open up or something, or a ride or something, like not that it seems like what Pirates of the Caribbean kind of did like unintentionally, or Treasure Island kind of did unintentionally or whatever, by inspiring all those things at Disney. Like I feel like this is trying to do intentionally, and I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, but it is interesting to see like someone like essentially it's almost like forced viral ability,
Right.
Like when somebody tries to make a viral video, it kind of feels a little bit like that. Where it's like, oh yeah, no, this would be great, Or like Transformers, for instance, is a great example of like, Transformers being made to like sell the toys, but not necessarily being bad in and of itself,
Well, it's interesting because like I was talking with a friend about YouTube. He was asking my experience with YouTube and such. And I was just like, to be honest, like if you want to get on YouTube, probably the best thing for you to do would be to make a decent, like a pretty good video, and then just have an insane ad budget and just throw a lot of money into advertising. That would be the best way to grow a YouTube channel, like just period, right? Because like organic reach and stuff like that, like a lot of that stuff people don't realize is like it's really hard to do. But those platforms are really happy to show your stuff to people if you pay. So like if you have an and like you just find out like these people or like these bands that you thought, I'm used to saying bands, but like these channels that you thought like, oh wow, they grew so quickly, but then it's like, oh, they have an advertising budget and that's what they used,
Yeah, this almost seems like it'll be like essentially building up like an advertisement for like the new ride at Disney World or whatever, which again, not a bad thing, but like, I mean, it just very much seems like that way. But like, I will also say I much prefer the way that Disney does it in like cases like these, as opposed to like Lord of the Rings doing it with like things like Gollum or whatever, like I'm not going to go out and buy a Gollum plush toy after playing this stupid game. Okay. I mean,
we say that, but anyway. Wouldn't it be hilarious?
I hope you do.
But what if this is like the beginning of the story? We're going to like pull up clips of this, but then like David falls in love with the game and the character.
Oh my gosh. I
Wouldn't
can't
that be
see
hilarious?
That. There's no way.
There's no way, but that makes all of these clips even better. That would be hilarious.
No way we talk about Johnny mentioning fire hydrants when he came to America, and then it actually happens. And it was so off the cuff, and the chances that I even found that voice clip was in what?
Yeah, there's enough. They didn't have fire hydrants like that when I lived. That's so crazy.
That is so crazy.
I really wanted to cover before we wrapped up is I finally got to watch Inside Out 2.
Yes. Did you love it?
Did you see it?
Yeah, I told you when I saw it. Yeah.
It was so the first Inside Out movie actually has helped like Johnny be able to express his feelings and stuff like that. My son in better ways. Like, and like talking about core memories and all that kind of stuff. The second one, I really liked it.
You had me nervous there.
I really liked it. I really liked it, but it is also a little bit sad. Like seeing
I would
Riley.
Agree. Yeah.
You see, like spoilers, I guess, for the most populated or popular animated movie of all time, right? Isn't it like the highest grossing animated movie of all time at this point?
I don't know about that, but yeah.
Oh no! When I had checked before, it was behind the live action Lion King, which technically it's billed as live action, but it is animated, right? Definitely in the top 3.
I think watching Inside Out 2 gave me a lot more anxiety as an adult, because you're like, oh man, she's going through all of these things, and like as an adult having those experiences, and you're like so badly just want to be like, it's okay, like remember what's important to you, or this, that, or the other thing. And it's like, but she, like all of us go through that, and it's just like, oh man, I remember when I was making these decisions in my life,
so it is the highest grossing. It is the highest grossing movie, animated movie.
Yeah, and number
followed
8
by
overall.
The Lion King and Frozen 2. And then Super Mario. I didn't realize Super Mario did so well.
It's crazy that, honestly, it's kind of shocking that an animated movie is in the top 10. That's kind of crazy. Yeah.
But no, exactly, Caitlin. Like watching her have, so again, spoiler, but like watching her have a panic attack.
Oh man,
basically,
I felt that, and it's just like, this is rough. Yeah.
But also, the part that was sad for me was like everything with anxiety, one of the new emotions and such. My 11-year-old, Johnny, he commented that he's like, I feel like that sometimes. And like, I know we all feel like that, but that's just not something you want to hear. Right? Especially from a 10-year-old or an 11-year-old to be like, oh, like, sometimes I feel like this. And I was like, I know, bud. I know. Like, me too. Sometimes I feel that way too. But I appreciated that anxiety had a place. I guess it's just like the first movie, right? Sadness has a place. It's not always bad. It does have a reason to be there. And I appreciated at the end of the movie, anxiety very much had a place too. Of like, oh, it's not that we're totally going to get rid of anxiety. Anxiety actually has a purpose. But like, we're not going to let anxiety run your life, kind of a deal.
Right.
Which I thought was really good.
The only thing I kind of don't like about the Inside Out series overall is the idea that like emotion should kind of like dictate your reactions to everything. Like I feel like that's kind of not the best message, but overall I really like how it emphasizes the importance of all emotions, and that emotions aren't like good or bad inherently. It's really how like when and how you express them, And then I also really, really, really liked the emphasis on like core memories and values and all of that, and how that all kind of integrates together. Because I feel like that's like a really important thing for like people to kind of like understand.
Yeah, that, and what was it like? Joy realizes like she criticizes anxiety, like you can't just put out what you don't like and try and mold Riley yourself. But then she has like even in the movie a moment of self-reflection that's what she had been doing. Right, of like sending memories to like the back of the mind and stuff. But what a good movie. So clearly there's going to be an Inside Out 3, right? I mean, obviously it has
with how well this did. I mean, money talks, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I mean, they
didn't bring back all of the same voice actors. They brought back the same for Sadness and for Joy, but I know for sure Mindy Kaling wasn't discussed. I don't know about everyone else, but they didn't bring back everybody.
I didn't even notice.
Well, and people criticized that like probably it had to do with money, and like, look, it made so much money, they should have just dished out the extra money to bring back the original voice cast. Sounds bad, but again, I didn't even notice either, and I knew. I was like, oh yeah, these voice actors hit it fine enough. They did a great job.
Well, and I heard a bunch, like there was like, I think it was a TikTok trend, but I saw it on Instagram. Because, I mean, who knows? Soon we might not have TikTok at all coming this next year. But
good.
But I saw this trend where people were, like, doing, like, the voice acting of, like, Joy from the movie. Like, in, like, a little, like, 30-second clip or whatever. And most of them sounded really good. And it's like, oh, wow. Like, I don't think I would necessarily even notice if this person, like, did this voice. Because, like, I guess I'm just not that focused on the actual, like, tone or whatever, or the pitch, or, like, I mean, like, as long as they get, like, that same energy that Joy needs to have, like, I mean, I think I wouldn't necessarily care. But I think that's also part of the problem with voice acting, right? Is, like, that it's kind of easier to replace people.
Well, and I remember Miles Luna at Rooster Teeth, back when Rooster Teeth was a thing. I remember hearing a thing where they talked about Miles started doing the voice for Sarge.
Right, I remember that, yeah.
Because he does a really good Sarge, and apparently Matt was having a hard time doing the voice, and just, oh yeah, he doesn't even do it. Miles just does it. And I'm just being like, if they hadn't said that, I wouldn't have known. Like, just like, what? Crazy. But why don't we wrap up? Do you guys have any closing comments? Caitlin, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course.
Great. And Craig, thank you so much for coming, Mr. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Anyone have any closing comments?
Are we going to cut out that entire earlier section now?
I
feel like
know.
we can't.
If Caitlin wants me to cut it out, I'll cut it out. But I'm gonna leave in the part of us talking about cutting out. Maybe I'll put a beep in. That would be funny, right? Just be like,
Like, wow. I think it would have been totally fine if Johnny hadn't said anything. It would have not been a weird comment.
I'll bleep it. I'll bleep it out. So we'll be like, oh, Bubba, and then we'll be like, oh, Craig's name is Craig. Thank you, Mr. Yeah, I'll do
At
that.
that point, you just cut it. Just cut it.
No, we're not gonna cut it. I'm gonna do the extra work. I'm gonna put in the extra work. So, any closing comments? Anybody?
Enjoy the Game Awards next Thursday. I think 12th. Whenever that
what are
is.
you hoping is gonna win?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. Like, none of the games that are in the Game Awards category, like, I guess Astrobot out of the, 5 or 6 that were nominated.
Who even arguing? Do you guys hear this? You hear how David's turned into,
Astrobot is a fantastic game.
PlayStation shill over the course of an past. He's just...
Also,
Disgusting.
PlayStation Plus is great.
Yeah. Anyway, bye.
Sacrilege.
Get out of here, Craig.